Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Justaposition, the podcast where we explore mental health, vulnerability, and life journeys featuring some of the creators you know and love. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Justaposition YouTube channel and stream our episodes. New episodes are out every Thursday, and you can listen to them on Spotify, Odyssey, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And today, you may notice that I have someone in person, a very special VIP controversial, but no, I'm kidding. Wow. Amazing person that I'm so excited to have. Young.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here finally. And you guys don't even know how amazing this studio space is, but you'll see in the future, most likely. But thank you for having me here.
Of course.
I love being here.
Of course. It's so cool to have you in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It's so awesome because I know, like, how long ago was that? I think it was like a year ago where we met up and we got boba together here in Honolulu.
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
And you took me to the best place ever. I don't even remember what the place was called. So
oh my God. No worry. I'll give you
the
hookup.
afterwards.
Yeah. No, it's so good to see you again. Like, you travel here pretty frequently, right? Because you have family who lives
Exactly.
here.
Yeah. I probably come to Oahu specifically maybe like 6 to 10 times a year, like just depending on like family and like weather, my scheduling situation. But yeah. I come here pretty often. I won't say I'm a local, but I know at least Honolulu, Waikiki, the tourist area is pretty well.
Yeah, you're seasoned. You know all the spots, especially the food spots,
yes,
as we were just talking about. Yes,
that's where I'm at.
This man is the ultimate foodie. I feel like anytime I need any recommendations in LA, I will be hitting you up.
Oh, you any better, man. Start upping up with my content with my LA stuff, dude. But that's a good idea. That'll give me good motivation.
Yeah. No, let me know how I can support. But thank you so much for coming in the studio today. Like, I'm really excited to have you here to like have a conversation, especially as like a fellow skincare content creator, because I'm able to have like, it's so cool having this podcast to be able to talk to so many different types of people, but like with you, I'm just like, oh, there's just a deeper level of like understanding and mutual pain that we experience. So it's great to have you. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm gonna start off by doing some rapid fire questions. Just because I'm genuinely interested, and also for anyone who's listening or watching who might not know who you are. But if you guys have TikTok, then you already know who this man is.
I hope you guys know. Please,
definitely.
For you, page, help me.
We'll go into the rapid fire questions. So first, just quickly describe like what you do. What is it that you do online?
I mainly make skincare content as entertaining and educational as possible.
Yes.
Whichever way you want to take it is up to you. But whatever, my thing definitely is don't do what I do. Just do what I say, okay? So whatever I do, don't copy me. Just listen to my advice, and that's all that matters.
You sacrifice your skin so that the rest of us, can excel and learn what not to do.
Because I feel like not many people take risks with their skin because it is a very fragile thing, and it's like, huge like insecurity, confidence kind of ruin it if you do mess it up. So, but for me, it's like, it's okay. In a good way. I admit I'm ugly, so it's okay. I will do it for you guys. I will do it for you guys. Everyone else can say beautiful, aesthetic, bougie, but I'll be on the opposite end.
Oh my God. No, y'all, you don't even see the glow, the beautiful, clear, glowy skin that I'm sitting across from. So don't even start with that.
It's because I'm sweating.
It's the humidity. No, I honestly, like, I remember when I first discovered your content because so many people were tagging me in your videos, which I always like feel a little like nervous and scared and feel bad about sometimes because sometimes people can be rough in the comment sections, and I'll get into that later because I have some questions about that. But I remember people were tagging me in your videos, and I loved your videos because they're, like you said, it's the perfect marriage of entertainment and education, which is exactly why I started my channel, because I was like, I am not someone who can easily consume skincare content that is purely just information and very analytical and very data heavy. I need the entertainment, the personality, the drama.
Exactly.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, I love this guy because he literally like has that philosophy too. It's so fun to see, even if I, disagree with what you do to your skin.
We don't always have to agree with everything. But it was crazy because like definitely when I started, like, because I was making videos even on Instagram when Instagram wasn't like a video platform. It was still very photo heavy. So a lot of people were just like, Young, like maybe you should just go back into photos. But I suck at taking photos. I'm so bad. There's just something about me. I've taken classes. I've shadowed people who are like great editors, great photographers, and I'm just so bad. I don't have like the photographer's eye, you know. I just don't have that creative vision.
Wow. Well, you have the videographer's eye, definitely.
I don't know.
Like
nowadays, I'm looking at other people's videos and they're like next level editing. I'm
gosh,
okay,
no.
I should start learning more.
No, yours are great. I see like the depth of field and like the deal. Do you use like a? Yeah, we were just talking. You use like a nice camera to film your videos.
I use a nice camera. That's like my only I say it's my skills, but no, it's all the camera, But I do my best with what I have, I guess.
No, you're doing amazing. And everyone, please go check him out on TikTok and on Instagram. I will have his links in the description box down below. Go check him out because your content is genuinely hilarious and super entertaining.
Thank you.
Next rapid fire question. What is the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning?
The first thing I do? I always wash my hands with cold water. That's the very first thing I do.
Really?
Because when I do that, it shocks my body. And I get really sweaty in my sleep. So I feel like I don't want to touch anything until I wash my hands. So
wow. And it wakes you up.
Yeah, it super wakes me up.
Oh, that's such a smart idea. I have not even thought of doing that, but that totally makes sense. Like the cold water just kind of gets your system going. Oh, that's super cool.
I didn't really think about that until I went to an old school church retreat, and then the camping grounds only had mountain water, and it was winter, so it was always cold. But then we would always stay up till 3-4 a.m. talking with each other, but we have to wake up at 7. So I realized when I wake up and I have to wash my hands or wash my face, I was like, oh my god, this cold water woke me up so fast. So ever since then, I was every morning, just cold water, wash my hands.
Okay, just re-traumatizing yourself every morning. I love it.
It works.
That's super cool.
Coffee.
I'm definitely going to try that out because that sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What would you say is your biggest fear?
Biggest fear? Oh, it's kind of weird with spiders. I can't do spiders.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't do, or just bugs in general, but spiders specifically.
Okay.
There was this one picture book in elementary in the library, I remember, and every other page was a blown up close up photo of spiders. But it was supposed to be educational, but no, that shit traumatized me so bad.
That's a horror book to you.
I still have to it's so bad, but there's a couple times I have to call up my neighbor. At 3 of them,
really?
Because I'm well, if this shit doesn't go away, I can't go to sleep because I feel it's gonna crawl in my mouth or something. So
yeah, I know people like that. My best friend in high school, she literally, when she was taking a shower, and she was home by herself, saw a spider on the other side of the bathroom and called the fire department to come and remove the spider just so she could function.
If it gets to that point, I might, man, because I can't deal with spiders at all.
Wow. Okay. Intense fear of spiders. Okay. I am the complete opposite of that. I'm usually the person that if people are freaking out that a spider is there, I'm just wait. I'm the good Samaritan that picks up the spider, gives it a little kiss, and lets it run on its way.
Give it a kiss?
No, I don't. I'm not that white.
Oh, okay. Oh my god.
No, I just will always protect it, and I'm just okay, just go your way before people try and kill you.
You have such a kind soul, man. If there was a weapon specifically for spiders, I would use it on the daily. I would go hunting for that.
No worries. I'll send you Amazon links to flamethrowers, so you're all good. Okay, next question. What would you say is your newest hobby? Your recent thing that you've just found a lot of interest in?
Newest hobby. It's kind of random, but I actually got more into After Effects.
Yeah, I love After Effects.
I started especially on TikTok, every new generation of people who are just starting social media or TikTok in general, their editing skills are next level.
Yeah.
I'm how do you guys do that? They're oh, it's After Effects. I'm
yeah.
Damn it. So I just started copying YouTubers at first, but then they're kind of all over the place with their instructions. So I'm starting to take master classes.
Nice.
Step by step.
Okay,
and
super cool.
After Effects, you can do so much.
Oh my god, it's incredible. And for anyone who's listening who doesn't know what After Effects is, it's an Adobe software that movie teams will use to create CGI cinematic effects. So I started learning After Effects when I think I was 11 years old, and just started doing it for fun. I would re-download the free trial every 30 days because I couldn't afford it. And my little sibling and I would just spend hours on After Effects. And when I tell you that is one of the most incredible softwares out there, you can create entire worlds, fake worlds from absolutely nothing in videos. It's amazing. If you learn After Effects, that is an extremely valuable skill.
Seriously.
in life. So
and I saw what it was even 2 years ago and what you can do now.
Yeah.
They've invested so many resources into After Effects. You can do everything with a click of a button now.
Yeah.
So I'm wow, this is crazy.
Oh my God. I want to talk to you after that because I want to geek out with you. I fucking love After Effects. Right, okay, super cool. And then what is your go-to coffee order?
Oh, coffee order, just straight black.
Yeah.
Either straight black or just espresso, whichever.
Okay. Yeah. I think you're like the third person on the podcast who said that. I love that because I am such a coffee purist as well, where I'm like, oh, milk and sugar distract from the flavor tones of the bean, sort of thing. And so I always get like black coffee too. Yeah. Is it like you like iced espresso, iced Americano, or just like regular drip black coffee?
Normally it's just regular drip black coffee. But yeah, if I can get espresso, I will, because I love like bitter tart flavors. So like just that astringent flavor is like way up my alley.
Wow, that's such a controversial take in LA. I feel like.
Especially in LA. Where my New York people at? Man?
I know, for real. Okay, I love that. Okay, cool. Thanks for answering the rapid fire questions. I want to get into the more juicy questions. The first of which, I know you frequently use St. Ives, and you literally brought St. Ives into the office today. So I would just love to know who hurt you.
Honestly, I think I'm just hurting myself. Honestly, okay, so this is a story I tell a lot of people. Like, I feel like, okay, I grew up with a great childhood. I think I really did.
Good.
Like, no
That's
trauma,
awesome.
no, I guess not too much bullying. But it's like, overall my childhood was very good. But at the same time, I'm Korean, so it's kind of like I need drama in my life. So I feel like I just create the drama. So it's kind of like I'm just doing this to myself, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Self-trauma. Okay, self-inflicted trauma.
I don't know. I like it.
Okay, well, I have some crisis lines I will give you. I'm kidding.
Every week, my friend sends me one or two, yeah.
It's so funny, like, because you utilize St. Ives in so much of your content. I honestly think that's your claim to fame, really, because...
It really is.
Yeah.
And a lot of those videos,
they explode. And it's so funny because I see so many tags from people who are genuinely infuriated and are like expecting me to just be absolutely like angry and disgusted and horrified and like repel you. But I think it's so funny because the way that you utilize St. Ives a lot is kind of like showing... I think you give a very fair perspective, but you also kind of like show, the downsides of being overly harsh with your skin and like kind of what that can do,
course.
But like explain your relationship with St. Ives. Like, why?
Like, no one really told me about like exfoliating when I was like back in like middle school, like elementary, middle school. So like I used to just like use like my nails. So like I used to like wash my face with a cleanser and use like my nails to like scratch my face because I saw a lot of people doing that. So I was like, I guess that's like a natural way. And then I moved on to using like, what is it? Like a face towel. And that was a little bit more gentle. But then I realized like I kind of didn't like that because first of all, I just think I was doing my laundry wrong. So like I would break out a lot.
Oh no.
So then I finally asked someone at, I think it was Rite Aid at the time.
Okay.
Is Rite Aid still in business? I don't
know.
I think they are? Okay, yeah. So I went to Rite Aid and I just asked like a random person. I was like, what can I do to like help get rid of my dead skin? Because like I still had like flaky skin at that time because I was just doing a lot of stupid stuff. And she was like, like try this product. Saying I was super popular, and at that time it was like the best product ever,
Okay,
So I tried it and I was like, this is actually a really good product. And I just kept experimenting with it. And of course, as like a stupid kid that I was, I like overly used it,
Yeah.
And I thought that was like the right thing to do. Like, my skin is more raw. It's more red. It must be doing all these good things. And then I just kind of learned from that and pulled back, and I realized, so all of these issues that people have with St. Ives, it's just because they're just overly using it. And I learned that from like a very young age. So ever since then, I was just like, St. Ives is actually a pretty okay product.
Okay.
Especially for the price point. Back then, it used to be $1.99. Used to be $1.99. Okay.
Those were the days.
God, I used to skip lunch. I used to starve just for like 1 or 2 lunch sessions and just buy my St. Ives, dude. Totally worth it.
Honestly, dedication to the particular. I love to see it. I have my personal opinions on St. Ives, but I do think I do partially agree with you in the sense that like, even though as a product, I'm not necessarily a fan, I do think the primary problem is just people overusing it, over exfoliating their skin. And that goes for any scrub. That goes for any serum, any exfoliating treatment, whatever it may be, because, it was such a weird loophole on TikTok, even like a year ago, 2 years ago, to see people, complete like throwing away St. Ives on their shelf, for example, but then using the ordinary AHA peel like every day. And I'm just like, no.
For like 30 minutes at a time.
And I'm like, no.
Dude, some people are wild, man. But definitely, like, without St. Ives, I wouldn't have learned my like methodology of how to test products, because for me it was like, even if you do damage your skin, like it's not always that product's fault. It most likely, majority of the time from my experience, it's the user error. It's always a user error. So from that I always realized, oh, okay, so even though a product may be bad, I'm not just going to give up on it after one try. I'm just going to keep trying different ways. And then after like 100 tries, if it's still bad, then I'll get rid of it. But until then, I'm just going to keep trying over and over.
That's good. That's awesome. And that literally like leads into like one of the questions I had, which is that your knowledge of products and your experimentation and like testing of different products is like unmatched. Seriously, like I'm so impressed with how many products you test on your skin. And I admire that, because I am someone who, like, as much as like I love trying new skincare products all the time, I really had to pull myself back a lot, because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm breaking out all the time because I'm testing out so many different things on my face. And I think it's like really, I mean, you're like the sacrificial lamb essentially for the online world.
I am tribute.
Just like testing out so many different products and, you know, getting your thoughts on them. So like how do you manage to like find that balance of testing out so many products, trying out so many different things and talking about it while still keeping your skin looking like how it looks? Because it's like flawless, man.
No, my skin is so bad. Oh wait, I have a really funny story to tell you afterwards. Okay, but definitely like with me, I consider skincare more about like finding solutions rather than like attacking a concern, because at the end of the day, like skin will always be forever changing. And instead of trying to figure out like how to get rid of pimples or dark spots or acne, it's more about like, if something like that happens, what can you do to like calm it down? Because it's gonna come up again sooner or later, you know? So for me, it's like, even if I use a lot of products that may ruin my skin, I have the next layer of new products that might help calm down those side effects that I had from those previous products. So it's just like a never-ending cycle. Like I use products. If it did something bad, I have new products to help calm it down. If something did bad happen again, it's just a constant cycle of solutions.
Yeah, it's like a revolving door. Yeah, I feel that, because I've become a little bit more relaxed about it now, but in the middle of like me just being like, oh my God, I have to test out a new product every other day and like do this, change up my skin constantly to find the best recommendations for my audience. It was always like I would do that for like a week. My skin would freak the fuck out. And then I just go in with barrier repair products and just my tried and true ones that I know will get my skin back on track for 2 weeks. And then the next week, re-destroy my skin again. And it was just like this pendulum swing back and forth of like creating damage, undoing damage, essentially. But like, what are some of your favorite like go-to products to like repair your skin?
Honestly, at the end of the day, like if I have to choose one product, then it's always going to be Crave Beauty's Great Barrier. Like always.
That is literally mine too.
Let's go, Leah, Crave Beauty. No, always. Like if anything, like if I'm like, oh shit, Young, you went too far, then I literally just go super minimal and just go Crave Beauty, Great Barrier Relief. Like that's it, like literally. And then other than that, I just try to keep things minimal, you know, just using that sunscreen, just staying away from the sun, not exercising that day until like my skin heals. And
I love that. Literally the last podcast episode we had was with Leah. And Crave Beauty has been mentioned. I think this is the 5th or 6th episode that like Crave Beauty has been talked about, because not by me, by my guests, and then I add on to it because I'm a big fanboy of Crave Beauty. But like literally, I'm not even kidding. Every single time my skin freaks out, every time I have a reaction to a product, whatever it may be, I go in with Great Barrier Relief, and it just
GBR is like next level, like holy grail. Like it will never, it will always be a product I gift, recommend, and like use on myself 24/7.
It's the best thing ever. Like seriously, anyone who's listening or watching, seriously. I remember Leah made a video talking about like products that she wished she formulated because she loved all those formulas. That's how I feel about Great Barrier Relief.
Dude, I'm just like, for real,
what magic shit did you pour into this formula to make it so incredible? Anyway, I can go on and on about how good Great Barrier Relief is. If you guys like want to check it out, I will have it linked down below.
Dude, for sure.
But okay, so you've tried a bunch of different skincare hacks. Just so many different ones that have gotten popular on TikTok. You've created some of your own hacks for better or for worse.
Oh man.
What would you say is like the best hack, like the skincare hack that you've used on your skin?
The best hack, I'd say, maybe like the easiest one is to like just leave on your cleanser, because some cleansers have like very minimal amounts of active ingredients. So I feel like if you don't have the money or the budget to go out and buy like a dedicated mask, if you have a cleanser that has like salicylic acid, then just leave it on. I forgot who I learned it from. I think it was Susan Yara. I think she was the one who
that
taught
makes
me
sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Just leave it on real quick for like 2 minutes maybe after you wash your face, and just rinse it off, and that's like a little like mini mask.
That's such a smart idea. I love that. Actually, I'm literally in the middle of filming like an affordable skincare series right now. Can I steal that and credit
definitely.
you? Because that's such a good idea, because I've always recommended, like, if people want to cut costs on like active products like a serum or an exfoliant or something like that, I recommend cleansers with it in it. But I didn't even consider like how that can really help to like cut the cost and increase the efficiency by just leaving it on your skin.
Because I always thought about it. I'm like, if you cleanse your face with these active products, they're only on your skin for like 30 seconds, maybe 10 seconds for some people, But it's like, what if you left it on longer? So it's like, then you're getting your money's worth with active products. So
that's so smart. I love that. I love that. Finally, a hack that doesn't fucking revolve around St. Ives. God damn.
Wow. Well, I use it with St. Ives the most because they have 2% salicylic acid. Let's go sponsor me, St. Ives. Why won't they sponsor me?
They haven't sponsored you?
No, they haven't, dude.
Okay.
I've been making content for them for like 4 years.
Okay,
man.
Wait a second. As much as I absolutely abhor St. Ives as a formula, their representatives are very nice. They're a nice company. But as much as I abhor the formula, I take personal offense to the fact that you have not been sponsored by them yet.
I have not been contacted by them. I have not been. I don't even think they follow me on Instagram, man.
What?
Yeah, and I tag them like crazy. I've tried to like create like a little riot. I'm like, everyone go tag St. Ives, and no attention, no response. I tag them in my stories. They don't even read my Instagram, so they don't see my Instagram stories, man. I started tagging them on TikTok stories, and they don't even see that either, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's okay. One day, I just know that the second they contact me, like, I'm probably just going to break down and cry and be like, this is it. I don't need to work with anyone else anymore. Like, St. Ives is all I need.
Please document that when you do.
That's a good idea. Okay, I will document that, dude. Oh, my God.
Well, speaking of, documenting, the personal chaos that can be inflicted by the internet, I want to ask you, like, you have essentially welcomed the wrath of skincare TikTok and all the brutal opinions that are on there. And I say that because, like, even with me creating TikTok content, and then I see just the arguments that just spiral out of control over a skincare ingredient or a skincare product in the comment sections. I'm just like, holy shit, you have kind of like dove head first into it, I would say, by like doing things in your content that so many people are just like, what the hell are you doing to your skin? Scrubbing your skin that way, doing all this different stuff. And so I wanted to ask you, like, how do you handle that kind of like critical attention? Because I know that you have like such a huge loving audience, which I absolutely love. But I feel like initially at the beginning, there would have been a lot of like people commenting what are you doing to your skin? Why would you do that?
A lot of people. I feel like it's because mainly they just didn't understand what I was trying to do. Because, for the most part, almost everyone I followed at the time, even before TikTok, everyone was taking skincare so seriously. And it had to be about like aesthetics and like you have to do everything right. There's a certain order. And I was just like, I don't like that because it's so boring for me. So I was just trying to like kind of like half and half, like be serious about my content but troll at the same time. Because the trolling part is a fun, entertaining part, and like I felt like since not many people were on TikTok, and I didn't know TikTok was gonna blow up, so that was my like little like way of like getting away from the whole Instagram bougie crowd and just like trolling everyone, making fun of the skincare community. And then unfortunately TikTok blew up. And then now everyone's
unfortunately
people were taking it way too seriously, They're like, what are you doing to your skin? Like, oh my god, like so and so said you shouldn't do that. I'm like, where are you coming from? Like, where are these people? I didn't know so many people are on this app, so it got pretty gnarly. And then I just decided to just dive head first, because the more you resist them, the more they want to like keep adding fuel to the fire. So I was just like, let me just join you guys. Like, if you guys are making fun of me, let me make fun of myself too. And then I realized that's when they were just like, oh, it's not as fun if he's making fun of himself too. So it's kind of like, oh, we're all having a good time now.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's just
I fucking love
kind
it.
of like the wave just kind of smoothed over after that. So
That's
was easy.
honestly great. That's so great because I remember when I started, like, I saw like the first video and then I like went down a trail of like watching more videos and I was like, this guy's a genius. Like, he's so smart for like just, you know, welcoming that and turning it into content. I literally had a conversation with Frederick Chen, who he is a YouTuber who will kind of like make videos about like homophobic comments he gets and like poke fun at them and make fun of them. And I think there's something so cool about just like taking the bullshittery of the comment section and how seriously people take some things and like the way that people get so worked up about things and utilizing that not only as content but as something you could just poke fun at and just troll along with. Like, I respect that a lot because I'm just like, that's so cool because I think equally as viewers take content so seriously and skincare so seriously, I think sometimes we as creators can take their responses and their criticism and their viewpoints way too seriously as well. So the fact that you're just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna be a troll, I'm gonna roll with this. I think it's so awesome. I really think it's great.
And all these commenters, like, even though I don't know them personally and like they don't know me, the way we're like kind of like bantering each other, like talking shit about each other, it almost feels like we're already friends. So it's like that next level of like, oh, okay, I guess we have something in common. We feel a little bit more closer together because we're just making fun of each other, and that's what friends do, you know? So it's kind of like, oh, this is cool, you know?
Yeah.
So then they just keep coming back because they know that I'm not taking their criticism or their insults like seriously because they're just trying to have fun too at the end of the day. So yeah, if you have fun, I have fun, we all have fun.
Exactly. I love that perspective. And that's why for me, like, I love, you know, being able to be like friends with you. And like, I think sometimes, you know, when it comes to the online space, people take like a differentiation of, say, a skincare opinion, for example, so damn seriously, as almost if it's like a moral opposition.
Yeah.
And even like for you and I and so many other people too, like whether it be like James Welsh or, you know, like Susan Yara, Leah Yu, even like we'll have drastically different skincare opinions where like, you know, some of us, I'm just like, wow, there's hard to find anything we agree on from a skincare perspective, but it doesn't fucking matter because it's like, that's something that is your own personal journey and we'll all have our own opinions and express it how we want. But like, that doesn't affect like the way I perceive you, you know?
Exactly.
And so it's cool that you're encouraging that type of relationship with your viewers.
Yeah, because it's important to let people know that not only in skincare, but just everyone has their own opinions about things, but you can't hate that person because they have a different opinion, you know?
Exactly.
So
it's just skincare, like, goddamn.
I know, seriously, honestly, people, please don't take it too seriously. It's just fucking skincare, like, honestly, who cares?
Yeah, no, it's great. And your content, the thing I also love about your content is that it just radiates positivity, fun, just like your personality really shines through in making it just really enjoyable to watch, not only from like an entertainment factor of like trying to make the content appealing, but just from like your enjoyment and like creating the content.
Exactly, because for me, as long as it's fun and entertaining, like for me, that's all that matters. If you learn something, that's great, but as long as you have fun and you had a laugh or you smiled, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
You know?
And that's why you've done so well.
That's what social media should be. You should be having fun.
Exactly. I know. Oh, that's a necessary reminder for a lot of us. Well, you started TikTok right at the beginning of the pandemic, right?
Literally right at the beginning.
Okay.
Like a month before.
Same with me.
Yeah.
Oh, I started like a month after the pandemic.
Yeah, I think officially it started in like March because in February I went to Japan and like that was when the borders were still open and I came back from Japan at the end of February and then they were like, okay, everything's on lockdown in March. So that's when I started posting on TikTok. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it was like literally right at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So you've been able to really like see a lot, not only how TikTok has changed, but also like how the skincare community on TikTok has changed as well. So like, what do you think has really changed since you started? And also, where do you see like the platform going?
I feel like now, especially with TikTok, misinformation can go viral like in an instant. And there's not really much anyone can do to like counter that because even if someone has like the best, I guess, like counter argument or like clarification content for that misinformation, it doesn't mean it's going to go big or viral or reach to the same audience as opposed to the previous video, you know? So I feel like that is the biggest issue we have right now is like the spread of misinformation and like people who are just trying to do a lot of stupid things for the sake of doing stupid things just to go viral. Like that part is like definitely wrong. I do love stupid things, but like at least there's always a teaching moment, you know. There's always a teaching moment. So I feel like that is like the very scary part about social media right now. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of people, and like I've spoken to a lot of other creators about this, but the skincare space has been getting very boring. So that's why there's even more misinformation, because a lot of people are starting to realize that's how you get the views, that's how you get the attention. And a lot of people are still very focused on the numbers. So they're like, well, if that's like the meta right now, and like that's the type of content I have to make, then that's what I'm gonna make. And like everyone is making that. Even the newer generation of like content creators in skincare and beauty, like they're all making just very clickbaity, very not healthy content. And it's very difficult to do like damage control. And that's what I feel like we're doing. We're doing damage control 24/7. It's like, please don't listen to that person. It's not right. Or like we just try to clarify, or like try to get that person to be like, can you expand more on what you're trying to say? Because at the end of the day, like, you know, it is short form content and you can only put in so much. So you want to put in whatever is going to be very, you know, trendy or very eye catching to the actual viewer. But you know, it's very damaging. Yeah,
no, I'm so glad you touched on that, because it's really difficult when it comes to TikTok specifically, but just, you know, also a lot of platforms, is that there are so many creators, there's so much content, and naturally, and so like so many different accounts essentially competing for attention. So naturally, the content that will be most consumed is the most sensationalized, is the most like wow factor in your face. And, you know, this goes for, I think, a lot of things, but in the skincare space specifically, the truth and the reality is oftentimes pretty boring, like when it comes to ingredients and like actives and products and stuff like that, and the things that I so often see on social media where it's like, oh my gosh, I instantaneously got this jawline in 20 seconds from using the skincare product, or like whatever it may be. I'm just like, it's intentionally doing that in order to capture that attention, because it is so saturated and there's just so much content. And even though like skincare content has gotten boring, the antithesis to that is not great either, because it means that misinformation is being sensationalized and being spread. And so like, thank you for challenging, you know, that misinformation. And I completely agree. Sometimes I look at the platform and, you know, skincare is one thing, but with like political issues and social issues and things like that, where I see the same thing happening, I'm just like, no, this is so bad. It's literally vigilante style communication with no checks and balances. And I'm like, when is it going to get to the point where we start realizing the very real detrimental aspects that this can have to like our culture and society?
And I feel like a lot of creators, especially newer creators, because they're so young, honestly. Like if I were to make the amount of money that these newer creators are making, like even in college, I wouldn't even know what to. I was such a stupid kid back then. I was blowing money like left and right. But now I see them, I'm like, oh my God. Like, of course, if they see that that's what success is, they're just going to keep going for it. But they don't understand, like, I'm reflecting back on the content I used to make even 2 years ago, and I'm like, oh shit, like I shouldn't have made that video.
Same.
It caused a lot of damage. But then it's like they don't even comprehend the damage that they're doing right now. They're gonna figure it out later, but then it's gonna be like, well, you already created content for 2-3 years and you influence these kids literally, and like that's like they look up to you, so that's what they think is the right thing. So it's kind of like, you kind of can't do damage control on that at that point, especially with social media where the reach is just far and wide. So I just hope, you know, all you newer content creators like grow up kind of quick, you know, or at least like listen to us a little bit. Like,
I mean, you really can't blame them, because like you know, being an influencer is literally like the most desired job in the world among young people, among Gen Z specifically. And so because our value, I feel it really comes down to like a value system. Like our value system has, maybe it's shifted, maybe it hasn't, but whatever it may be, our value system resides in attention, in, you know, attention marketing, in, you know, gathering all that. And so when it comes to the balance between genuinely helping people, say, maybe improve their skin versus getting that sensationalized attention, I can't blame a lot of, you know, younger people and just, you know, people who are newer to the space for kind of going in that direction because they'll reap the rewards of it, unfortunately. So, I mean, thanks for being, responsible with that, because sometimes I know on my end too, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so hard to find like content on TikTok that is combating misinformation. So I think it's great.
I mean, I think that's the main reason why I love the skincare community in general, because like in the beginning, like all the fame and glory was to all skinfluencers.
Yeah.
All the skinfluencers, like everyone listened to them. But now like estheticians are rising to fame, derms are rising to fame, chemists are coming into the scene.
It's
so like, and
great.
now there's even like suppliers and stuff that are coming to the scene. So I'm like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. So now instead of everyone just listening to one person, there's a huge checks and balance system going on, So that's what I really love. Like everyone has their own like speciality, like skinfluencers will test a lot of products, derms will really have the tried and true medical background, chemists will break down little scientific stuff. So it's like it's a really great method of like doing damage control within the community itself. So if we see misinformation, then we can show another creator or another different type of person in a different area of the field, and they can really help clarify all the misinformation out there. And that's the great thing about us. Like, I really love the skincare community for that.
Yeah, I love that you touch on that, because I completely agree. Like, I think when I first, entered the space, on YouTube and stuff like that, before TikTok started growing or anything like that, there was so little information about skincare, and the information that oftentimes was present was highly complex skincare information that was only really relevant to people who were already pretty steeped within the skincare community. And then when I was able to, grow and stuff like that, I was like, oh wow, people are really consuming so much skincare content. That's a lot of pressure. That makes it nervous, because there's only a few skincare content creators that are creating that information. But now there's dermatologists, there's estheticians, there's chemists, there's so many people who I'm just like, yes, these people have so much knowledge and expertise, and they've literally gone to school for so long. Like, it's so great that they're sharing information in a way that is digestible to people who wouldn't have ever in the past been able to know about any of this information.
And I'm so glad, because like at that time, like before derms came onto the scene, I felt like a lot of people were giving us pressure, like, what's the solution for this? What's the solution? But I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I didn't go to med school for this. So it's like, I felt like a lot of creators were like coming up with home solutions or like random treatments. And I'm like, you can do that, but it's kind of weird, So I'm so glad that derms are like here, especially, Dr. Shaw, I love you, man. He's like very like hardcore on like, this works, this doesn't work, like straight up. So I really, really like that. So
good.
I'm just glad that we have the resources that we do have now.
I know, right? It's so cool to see how the community has like evolved in that way. And it makes me really excited about the future, I think, of the skincare community, because there is such a diverse conversation going on in terms of all those different things. And now, it's more accessible than ever. Like, I would always feel bad when I saw comments from people being like, how do I get rid of this like complex skin condition? I've gone to dermatologists or I've gone to estheticians and they haven't been able to help with it. And I'm like, don't trust me.
I know, right?
I'm like, I'm a skincare content creator. Like, I've worked in the industry, but like, oh my God, I don't know. Like, I don't know
I'm
that.
Literally just sitting behind a computer, bro. Like, I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry.
But I felt so bad, because I'm just like, these people are struggling and they really want to figure out a way to improve that. So now they have access to that without having to pay like, $300 to go to a dermatologist and see a session. So I'm excited about that with the future. I mean, you have obviously made such an impact within the skincare space online, but you also like have integrated other topics and other things into your content that goes beyond the world of skincare. Like, I want to know, like, what are some issues outside of, or like issues or interests or things that you love talking about outside of skincare? And also, is there anything like you're aiming to have an impact with your content? Like anything you're wanting to bring awareness about or talk more about or get more into?
I guess like the most important thing for me is like mental health. I feel like that's like a huge thing right now, because like I always thought I was like, oh, I'm so strong, man. Like I can be resistant to anything. But once I started like doing this more like full time and seeing all these comments from random ass people who don't know who I am, like it really got to me. I never thought it would get to me ever. And not only that, but from the burnout, like I used to work like corporate like 9-to-5 jobs, and then go to the gym afterwards and make content for 3-4 hours, sleep like 3-4 hours a day. But it was kind of like that never really burned me out ever. But then for some reason, content creation does.
Yep.
And I always try to like dive into like why, but it's mainly because like every day of your life is like you're working, you know? And like most people, the solution for that is to like time management, like very section things out where like you're like zero on your phone, zero technology, stuff like that. But yeah, just mental health, like trying to figure out a good balance between work and life, figuring out how you can take care of yourself well from all these commenters and hate comments and stuff like that. Like I feel like that type of areas where I want to like invest a lot of my resources, because it's starting to come up a lot. A lot of creators are like, dude, Young, I'm so burnt out. Like, how are you not burnt out? I'm like, I'm always burnt out.
You're like, I am, bro. I am
always burnt out. But you know, there are just ways to like help like manage that. And it's like skincare. It's a very individualized process. Like everyone has their own way of like managing that and like trying to like become better and healthier and just try to have like a very I guess progressive and like longevity style of like good mental health. So I'm just hoping I can eventually make content about that. But it's like I already know a lot of people who do make content specifically for this. I'm like following them and just trying to like learn from them first before I even attempt to make my own content. But for now, I'm just trying to like push out those resources as much as possible. If you guys have issues, look at this creator, look at this therapist, look at this psychologist. Like, here are the resources you need. So I'm just trying to like spread the word on that.
Thank you for sharing that. I think just in the world today, right now, mental health is becoming a more and more thankfully talked about, but I also think like prevalent issue given our, communication and interactivity being online and kind of the pitfalls of that, in addition to like all the shit that's happening around the world. Like, I think for everyone, it's, becoming more and more of a like necessary issue to address, but specifically with creators, like I wish you guys could see, when you follow a creator on TikTok, you can see like their private posts that they post. And I was literally talking about this today with my team, where I was like, every single time I get into it, it's creator after creator after creator being like, I'm so burnt out. I don't know if I can do this anymore. I'm so exhausted. Right. What do I do? I don't feel passion for this anymore. I don't feel love for this anymore. And it's constant. It's literally every single time I log into the app, I always see that. And I think, there is something to be said about, and I've talked about this in podcast episodes before, but I think the issue with, feeling that sense of like burnout and exhaustion from content creation, because I used to work, like I worked 2 jobs. I was on my feet from like, so I would, be going from 4 a.m. until 1 a.m. and just like repeat, and then upload videos on the side. And I was just like, I'm good. I'm like, I can handle this. This is fine. Like getting so little sleep. And then once I got fully into content creation, the burnout, like the work intensity in comparison was like not even remotely similar. And I think it's because of the psychological aspects, to be honest, like what you were saying, like being able to work in that corporate environment, but and being able to handle all of that, but just the mental state that you're kind of constantly in all the time is not to mention like the hate comments and stuff like that. I how do you best help your mind throughout that? What has really like worked for you or has helped make it a little bit easier?
I just try to think of it as like they're just bored, At the end of the day, like a lot of people don't see social media like how creators do. Like we see it as like our work, like we're really trying to connect with that person one-on-one, but most other people just want to have fun. So maybe it's their way of just letting out steam or trying to be creative. So I'm just like, okay, I guess I'll try to have fun with you too, But at the end of the day, like I know they mean no harm. Like they don't mean any like real harm and stuff like that. So that's why it's kind of like, it's okay. Like for me, I'll just try to like resist it. But then one thing that really helped me a lot was like I started like lurking a lot of these haters, and they're just like kids. They're like 9-10 years old, Are you even allowed to be on TikTok? But anyway, but they're like children. So that's why I'm like, it's fine. Like when I was a kid, I used to be stupid like that too. So it's kind of like, I'll just let them have their fun, Eventually they'll grow up, so it's fine.
I've always compared it to just like anyone who's like gone to school and like been bullied or like, been picked on or anything like that. I think at one point, a lot of people come to the realization where they're like, this is a reflection of their life experiences, their worldview, the things that they have going on at home or whatever trauma is happening in their life that's influencing them to do this. This is not a reflection of my actions or who I am or all of that. And so I think by having that kind of perspective, whether, you know, it is content creation that you're doing or whether, you know, it's just in any other capacity, in a work capacity, in life, relationships, whatever it may be, I think for me, that's always like definitely helped. And I think with what you're saying, like how many kids are actually kind of at the forefront of some of the most horrific comments that I've ever seen in my life.
They are
just
so
like,
creative lately. Like, wow.
No, oh my God. Low key, I kind of live for the comments that are just absolutely brutal with like the name calling and stuff like that, because sometimes I'm just like, damn, you should like be a comedian in the future, because you're so funny. Like these insults are so creative.
Like if I grew up with them in real life, like back in middle school, I probably would have like literally like shut down so bad, because they are so creative. And it hurts sometimes, you know, but I know they're just words, so it's fine. But it's so creative, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know.
I can't even imagine what bullying is like nowadays.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, moment of silence for, you know, what kids have to go through now. Because when I see that on TikTok, I'm just like, oh my God.
Dude, seriously.
It's crazy. It's wild.
Can you imagine if like you were just in like a group of friends and making content, and like your friends were like leaving hater comments like that on each other, and you see them at school and stuff? Like, I would not be able to handle that at all.
Yeah, it's awful. Like, I remember when I was in school and I went through a period of bullying, and being able to go home and get away from that environment was literally like the best thing ever, because I was like, I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to be faced with it. But nowadays with like TikTok and platforms and social media, I'm just like, with cyberbullying in addition to that and all that kind of stuff, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I'm not a kid right now, but I feel like so bad for kids.
Thank God I did not have to grow up with cyberbullying. Like there was no really such thing back then, you know, because everything was so slow. We didn't even really have like internet on our phones. So that's why it was like such a great growing up experience. But every time I hear about like my friends or their kids, like growing up with like constantly on Twitter, on Instagram, like that's their main function of like communication with their friends. Even at school, I'm like, your friend is right there, talk to them, you know, but they're just like DMing each other. I'm like, that's so weird. And I remember I saw this video on TikTok, it like blew up. It was like in a high school, everyone was having lunch together and they're just all talking to each other on their phones. And there was one time where they all laugh at the same time because they're in a group chat. They go, like, it's like, why don't you just tell each other the joke or something, you know?
I can't. That's so wild. I would not be able
to live in that world.
Man, we sound so fucking old. We're just like, damn, these kids and their phones.
MySpace Zingo, let's go.
Hey. I want to ask, like, as we kind of like wrap up, like, I love that you touch on mental health, because that's literally like a pillar of this podcast and something that I've talked a lot about on my channel, and I think just needs to be destigmatized and like talked about more. With your personal experiences, you know, whether it be from social media or not on social media, like, what recommendations do you have for anyone out there who might be struggling, you know, with mental health, you know, struggles because of the environments that they're in, or, you know, feelings of inadequacy or criticism that they're facing, or, you know, anything? What has really worked for you, and what would you recommend as kind of advice?
Number one advice is like, just talk to someone. Like literally, it can be a friend, even your parents. Most people are very afraid to talk to their parents, but even if it's your parent, it could be a friend. If you want to, you know, hire like a therapist to talk to, just talk to someone, because very rarely has anyone said, no, I don't want to talk to you. You know, it's like they're always willing to lend an ear, to like listen, to hear you out, to actually walk you through things, especially if they're like an older person where they have more wisdom, where they can actually help. And maybe they had that similar experience too. So definitely talk to someone, like regardless of what you're going through. Don't be shy. Like, honestly, everyone's willing to talk to you. Could be a random person too. Like, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I love that. I that's something that I stress so much. Like, I personally stress the importance of therapy a lot, like for anyone who is able to access it. And I'm not sure if you go to therapy, but it's like amazing for that reason, because it literally, if nothing else, is someone who you can just vent to, you can cry to, you can talk to, but whoever that could be in your life. Like, you know, I had moments in my life where I wasn't able to have a therapist, and I was able to open up to a close friend and talk about what I'm going through, and being able to just process it in that way, I think is so beneficial, because
like, just talking about it out loud, and then not only not having to have someone else's opinion like thrown in there, but just being able to like say it out loud and hear someone else's opinion from a different perspective really helps like click things in your head, and then you can process it a lot better. Yeah. So that's why I really like talking to other people. It just helps, you know? It really does help.
I love that. I love that. Thanks for sharing. And I'm excited to see more mental health content from you whenever you're like ready to like post about that in the future. In the future, I'm excited to see, because I love seeing everyone's individual journeys and kind of, you know, peeling back the curtains a little bit, peeling back the St. Ives bottles to like know what's going on behind the scenes. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Dude,
and
I loved it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your St. Ives gift. I will be, you know, rejecting it, but thank you for thinking about it.
I'll send you a pack of 60 later.
And, you know, I will, you know, I might even break my St. Ives band to reach out to them and be like, yo, you need to sponsor.
Dude. Yeah. That would be my dream. That is literally my dream, is to work with St. Ives. After that, I have nothing to work for. It's okay.
Oh my God. It might be, you know, like completely going against my morals, but for you, it's something I'm willing to do.
That would be sick, dude.
But where can people follow you online?
Definitely YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's just Young. It's all the same. Yeah. Y-A-Y-A-Y. It's 3 Yas, okay? Yes. Everyone thinks it's 2 Yas. But
I've noticed that. Everyone thinks it's Young, but it's Yaya.
Everyone calls me Yaya or Yaya Young. I'm like, you know, there's 3 in there. There's 3 Yas people. But yeah, just in case there's someone else who created an account that's Yaya Young. They have like 5,000 followers right now. Okay?
Oh my God,
yeah,
really?
They have a lot. Okay. And like they posted nothing. So it's kind of wild. But I guess it works.
Stealing your shine. Yeah, everyone please go follow Yaya Young on all his platforms. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Justaposition YouTube channel and stream our episodes wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again for coming on. I'm really happy that you were able to be here in Hawaii. And yeah, we're gonna check out and go get some food after this. So thank you to everyone who's listened, and this has been a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio. New episodes every Thursday, and you can stream wherever you listen to your podcasts. Bye guys.